time, I think that we're all more excited than we are anxious for a change, which is a nice place to be. But at any rate, the people that are going to speak today are William Bailey, Tobias Colvin, Clifford Evelyn, Charles Webster Baird, Ed Fitch, Emerson Levy, and Anthony Broadman. And Janelle Bynum will be here on a video because she has something to say. So, I'm not going to waste any more time. We're going to bring William Bailey up, and I'm going to read his bio, and we'll let him speak because I want to give everybody as much time as possible. William Bailey grew up on the Oregon coast, graduated from Neocani High School in Rockaway Beach. He worked at his mother's restaurant as a teen and on ocean charter boats during the summer. After high school, he served in the U.S. Coast Guard. After serving the U.S. Coast Guard, he moved to Central Oregon with the goal of working for the Sheriff's Office. He and his wife, Rachel, of 22 plus years, have raised 2 great kids, Kaylin and Grayson, and 2 dogs, Sage and Ember, and a new granddaughter. He is running for Deschutes County Sheriff. Would you like to come up, William?
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that introduction. You took about half my speech for the introduction, so I got to find something else to talk about now. Thank you for letting me be here today. I was here about a year ago speaking with you, not too long after I announced my candidacy, and a lot's happened in the last year, and so I'm here to update you, let you again know about me if you haven't had an opportunity, and then answer any questions you might have. I said my name is William Bailey, and I'm a nearly 24-year veteran of the Deschutes County Sheriff's Office. After growing up on the coast, working in charter boats, serving in the U.S. Coast Guard, I moved to Bend on really a drive-through fishing trip. Drove through Bend, and G.I. Joe's was in existence back then. Filled out an application. By the time I made it back to the coast, they called and offered me an interview, and the next day I came back and got the job. I met my wife 2 weeks later, Rachel. That's her here, raising her hand. And I want to thank her publicly, and then any other spouses or family in the audience that have someone running for office, because they run right alongside us. They have great days right alongside us, and they have not great days right alongside us. And so I want to thank them. Thank you all in the room. I started out as a reserve deputy at the Sheriff's Office, volunteering my time for about 2 years, and that really just continued to drive my passion for civilian law enforcement. And after 2 years, I applied for, was selected to be a corrections deputy. So I worked in the jail for about 6 years as a deputy, maintaining safety and security of the facility, learning how to talk and interact with inmates, safety and custody and care for them so that we leave them a little bit better off when they leave the building. And then the conversations, and really being a counselor, a mentor, and really spending as much time as I could talking to the inmates in the jail. But I wanted to transition out to the road, and so in 2008 I applied for, was selected to be a patrol deputy. And I have the broadest level of experience at the Sheriff's Office. Not only have I worked in the jail for 6 years, but I've also been a field training officer on corrections and patrol. I've been a deputy detective, not only a criminal detective, but a street crimes detective, focusing on drug and property crimes. And then I promoted to sergeant, and I've been a sergeant, not only a patrol sergeant, but then an administrative sergeant and a public information officer. When I was a sergeant, I noticed our agency did not have a good communication platform, and I wanted to communicate better to the community we serve so they understood what we did, how we do it, and then also just get to know the deputy sheriffs that are working at the Sheriff's Office. There's a tremendous amount of leverage in the community knowing who's working for them and understanding who they are as people and why they want to serve in law enforcement. And then I got promoted to lieutenant, and I've been administrative lieutenant, patrol lieutenant, and then also the Sisters Station lieutenant, where we brought our new city contract on that out there. So help bring that contract. And then anytime in law enforcement, if you do a pretty good job, they're going to promote you again. And so about 2 years ago, Sheriff Nelson asked me to be a captain, and I currently serve as a captain over the patrol division. My broad experience allows me to use actual real-life experience and my relationships to come up with a vision that I see for the Sheriff's Office moving forward. When I agreed to run for sheriff, I told Sheriff Nelson that I was not going to take the agency in the same direction he had. I had a new vision and a new plan, which he strongly encouraged. He wants the office to go to the next level, and that's why he supported me in my candidacy, not because I'm him. The term Shane 2.0 comes up sometimes. But I respect him. He has mentored me, but he does not expect me to be him, and I will take the office in a new direction. I have a plan to implement a homeless outreach team for the Sheriff's Office of dedicated law enforcement professionals that will work closely with our Homeless Leadership Coalition and homeless service providers to help transition people from our public lands into more sanctioned locations where they can get the support services where they can help get themselves onto the next step. It's long past time for us to help transition people off public lands. It's too unsafe.
1 minute.
1 minute, dang. Fire risk, and so I have a plan to do that. I'm already addressing traffic safety. Everyone has concerns about traffic safety in Deschutes County, and I've already put 2 people dedicated to traffic safety at the Sheriff's Office, and we'll continue to grow that. I'm going to expand or change the deputy shifts to a healthier shift. There are 12-hour shifts from now. We're going to go to 10s, which is going to also help with our on-duty training. Instead of having to spend over $2 million a year on overtime, we can significantly reduce overtime by allowing the deputies to train on duty and have their days off committed to their time off, and they're not having to come in to train and go to court. And so I have detailed plans moving forward for the Sheriff's Office. I'm ready to serve as your sheriff on day one. 100% of my focus is on public safety, and I'm going to ask for your vote this November. Thank you.
Up next, we're going to have Tobias Colvin. Tobias was born and raised in Alaska, a child of 2 elementary school teachers. He graduated with honors from Colorado State University in Natural Resources Management, but his career has always been in hospitality. Tobias and his family moved to Central Oregon in 2017. In 2019, he was hired as general manager to reopen the historic new Redmond Hotel as SCP Redmond. He has been active in our community by being selected to the Downtown Urban Renewal Advisory Committee in 2020 and was voted committee chairperson in 2022. Tobias was appointed to the Redmond City Council in 2023 and is now seeking re-election. Tobias?
Good afternoon. I was also going to talk about myself, but I guess I don't have to. Tobias Colvin. I am running for election. I was very honored to be selected to finish out Ed's last 2 years into this term, so this is my first election I'll be going for. So it's been an active 2 years, and I want to give props to the current council. We've really done a lot of work. There was a lot of stagnation in the prior councils, and we all came in with a can-do attitude and have tackled some of the biggest issues that are facing our city. Homelessness, housing, water, and I personally have been working on tourism. So a little bit about that. I know I have 5 minutes, so I can't go into too much depth, but housing, we have somewhere around 800 units of workforce and affordable housing that are coming into our system within the next 5 years. And that's all from the council approving some funding and helping push through some of those projects. We were able to open up Oasis Village out on the east side, which gives some solace to those homeless and those without homes. For the first time, after the pit, which is our point in time count, our homeless community went down, which is the first time in 10 years or something like that. So what we're doing is actually making a difference. On water, I know Ed has been very instrumental in pushing and making sure that we have water for our municipality, to make sure that we have certainty that water will be here in the future. And we'll continue to work on conservation methods to make sure that that resource is here for the citizens of Redmond moving forward. Then finally, tourism. So we have often been an afterthought to Bend. No offense. But we want to have an identity as a tourist destination, to bring in those people that want to have a unique experience. And we've turned over our current CBB, and we have a new agency called Watson Creative that's going to be coming up with a new brand for Redmond. Not to overrun our streets with tourists, but to do it in a responsible way that honors the history and what we have that is different than everywhere else in this region. So those are some of the key things that we've been working on, and I will continue to work on in the next 4 years.
Next will be Clifford Evelyn, who was born and raised in New York City. He studied both business administration and business management before enrolling in the U.S. Navy, where he attended the U.S. Naval Management School located in Algiers, Los Angeles, and received certification. In 1989, he was hired by the Clark County Sheriff's Department in Vancouver, Washington. Clifford was selected as the class president while attending Washington State Criminal Justice Training Commission Correctional Academy. He has served as a sheriff's commander, sheriff's office commanders guild organizer, and secretary, sheriff's office lieutenant, and sheriff's office training sergeant. In 2007, he was nominated and awarded with the first ever Cultural Diversity Award from the Clark County Board of County Commissioners for encouraging and supporting through actions cultural diversity inclusiveness within the county's working environment. Clifford is currently serving on the Redmond City Council. I think most of you probably know Clifford.
Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. I'm not going to talk about myself because now you guys got a little insight on what I did. So let me tell you what I'm doing. First of all, I want to thank all you guys, the citizens. Because of you, we are where we are today. I remember when I first got on the city council, the chamber was pretty empty, and we only talked about things that the council wanted to do. With new leadership and new councilors, we're moving forward in Redmond, and we're not turning back. The thing about it is this, is that we're doing great things here, and I'm proud of all you guys, and I hope that you guys are proud of us. Let me tell you something. I'm not a politician. I'm a public servant, and I want you to know that because there's a big difference. Well, I won't go into definition right now because it might come out wrong. So let me just keep moving. Being a public servant is very important, and the thing about it, people always say, "Well, how do you think you're going to do an election? How are you feeling?" I'm feeling fine, okay? Because whether I'm a city councilor or whether I'm a citizen, I can do the same thing. And that's what I'm saying to you guys. You don't have to be on city council to make a difference. You make a difference by participating and being involved. Right now, a lot of you guys are doing that. Taking signs, voting, which is very important, and we all know right from wrong. So it's not like a big deal about what should I do, because you know what you should do, all right? And what I really want to say is that we have great people running right now. I love the council. I love the leadership. And Mayor Fish has done a great job. Tobias, I trained him. No, I'm just joking. No, we got good people on city council, and I love all of you guys, and I really care about you. I know most of y'all know I got a satellite office, so I got a couple of them. One of my satellite offices is the SCP Hotel. I don't pay rent, but it's okay. And they're at the Junction. So if you ever want to talk to me, you can come there and see me because I'll be hanging out. And I talk to everybody. I talk to people I don't even know. But that's how you get to know people. And communications is the key. As long as we stay in touch and talk to each other and work out differences, because I want to work across the aisle. I'm not going to be working with some crazy people, but I want to work across the aisle with some people that got some logic and some understanding of what it takes to run a city and help a city grow. So, with that being said, here I am.
Up next, we're going to have Charles Webster Bear, who is also running for mayor as a Libertarian. And I want to mention that he was interviewed on Central Oregon's premier community affairs program by the very capable Louise Kaplan. And I would hope that all of you would take every opportunity possible to hear what these candidates have to say on KPOV, because I think it makes a big difference. And I am going to put a pitch in for Democracy Now! If you are wanting to look at national and worldwide news, please tune in to KPOV at 8 a.m. Monday through Friday for Democracy Now! With Amy Goodman. I think that's all I have to say, Charles. How about you?
Well, I got nothing to say. Okay, hello, thank you. Thank you to Liz for putting this on. I hope it's not the last one. Thank you to Neighbors for Redmond. Excellent job. Thank you all for coming here tonight. And thanks to Ed Fitch for being a great mayor and doing a great job. My name is Charles Webster Bear, and I'm running for mayor of Redmond, Oregon in 2024, so please vote for me. I think there's a lot of reasons that I'd make a really good mayor. So I'll talk about a few of those reasons now. If I'm elected mayor of Redmond, I'll create a program. And this program will be, it'll cost the taxpayer zero, because it'll be done entirely by private donations and volunteer work. It'll be run out of Central Oregon Community College, Redmond branch. It'll be 100% transparent, and it'll be entirely owned and operated by the Oregon state government. And what it'll do is it will create a AI program that will be available to Oregonians first, and then the entire human race. And it'll create a cryptocurrency that'll be available to Oregonians first, and then eventually the entire human race. It'll create a social media for the Oregon state government that will be available to Oregonians first, and then the entire human race, where people will be able to vote online and communicate online and participate and contribute to this new form of government. And it'll have search and all that. The Oregon state government has always been a world leader in progressive politics. And the world needs the leadership of Oregonians now more than ever. And we should lead by example. We should lead with freedom and democracy. And we should show the whole world how to run a government properly. And that's one of the things I'd do if I was mayor of Redmond, Oregon. I believe that the voters of Redmond, Oregon are intelligent enough to realize that they have a great opportunity this year to lead the world on the two most important political issues of this millennium. Number one is environmentalism, and number two is government fiscal transparency. And
1 minute.
Yep, got it. And we're going to wrap it up here. Anyway, thank you all very much for coming. I'll be here. I'll be here all week. No, just kidding. No, I'll be here all evening. So please come and talk to me afterwards if you have any questions, and or give me a call. 541-699-9868, yeah. Or email me or whatever. And, I just want to thank everybody. I think Redmond's a great place, and it's going to keep being a great place. And so thank you very much.
And I want to remind everybody, and I want to remind everybody, if you have questions, be sure and let Liz know, because any questions that you have need to be answered. Up next, we'll have Ed Fitch, who is the 9th of 11 children who grew up just outside Chicago, Illinois, and graduated from Marquette University with a Bachelor of Arts and a master's degree in history. In 1975, he moved to Oregon and attended Willamette Law School, where he obtained his Juris Doctorate in 1978. Ed moved to Redmond in 1979, where he was married to Susan Allison and raised 2 children, Andrew and Alex. Ed served as city attorney for Redmond from 1979 to 1996 and was mayor of Redmond from 1999 to 2001. Ed is currently serving as mayor of Redmond.
Thank you all for coming. I'm still trying to transition from playing scramble and golf with a 4-year-old, my grandson. So it's quite challenging. But it's a pleasure to be here. We are making a lot of progress in our city government. As you know, in May, we passed 3 charter amendments to open up the government with term limits, with a prohibition on family members serving together, and changing the mayor for a term limit and also to 4 years, beginning in 2 years. And the purpose of this was to kind of make an equal playing field so that people had more of an opportunity to serve on the city council, to get fresh ideas and innovative approaches to solving our challenges. And we do have a number of them. As Tobias indicated, we did have a significant challenge with Water Resources Department. I think we've overcome that. We're going to have a resolution on that in the next few weeks, where we'll have water for the long term here in Redmond. I've also been asked by the governor's office to help shape the water policy for the next century, and we'll be starting that process with a meeting in the governor's office on Monday. Transportation is also a big issue. The East Side Arterial, which we're working on, it'll be a changer for the community because it'll provide an alternate route on the east side to Highway 97. We're also going to work on a new southern interchange south of the new interchange, which will provide access both to Canal and Humboldt's on the west and to 19th Street and Airport Way on the east. Again, I think that'll change the entire dynamic of the community to provide better I'll call it connectivity between our east and west, and also take a lot of pressure off South I-97. But what's most important is that right now we are in the biggest investment in our community in Redmond's history. Between the airport, the wetlands project, the East Side Arterial, the police building, we're investing more than $300 million in our community over the next few years. And it's going to be critical that we have a steady hand in our leadership. This investment is going to make a big change in this community, and I think changing horses at this juncture is not a very good idea. I think we have seen the rise again of the MAGA right in this election. The Republican Party is backing my opponent, not Charles, and I think they want it back. It's going to be a close election, and we're going to need all hands on deck to make sure that doesn't happen. I do believe that the more open approach we've taken to our government, the investment we're making in the community, the changes we're making in terms of ensuring that the homeless have a safe location to reside in, and taking the pressure off those businesses in Northeast Redmond, these are the things that we're committed to doing. And with this council, I think we can. But if we have a major shift again to the right, a lot of those efforts may go unheeded. So I ask for your support. Anytime anyone who wants to help on door-to-door would be welcome. But I do think we need to make a strong stand that what we're doing is correct, and we're heading in the right direction, and we need to keep it moving forward. Thank you.
Up next, Representative Emerson Levy, and she is a mom to an elementary schooler, an attorney, an educator, and a proud Oregonian. She is passionate about health and safety of Oregon's children, families, and seniors. She believes that Oregonians should thrive, not just get by. Representative Levy is currently serving her first term in the Oregon House of Representatives, representing House District number 53 in Deschutes County, Bend, Redmond, Tumalo, Sisters, Black Butte, and Eagle Crest. She serves on the Housing and Homeless Committee, Joint Ways and Means Subcommittee for Natural Resources, and is the Vice Chair of the Climate, Energy, and Environmental Committee. Representative Levy is running for re-election, and I want to thank Emerson for having so much concern for our school kids. She has really been a heavy hitter when it comes to that particular issue. Thanks so much.
Well, I'm just awkward, and you all know that. You all know me well. Thank you so much for having me. This is, as a lot of you know, the closest race in the state, and your vote matters so much. We flipped the seat for the first time in the history of Oregon by 509 votes. And that, we always wonder, especially in a blue state, does my vote count? It absolutely counts, and it means a lot. And so, a lot of you know me, and so instead of going into bios and stuff, I want to tell you about two things we're working on for the future to really highlight the values that we need to have in this office to fight for Central Oregon. So right now, as Councilor Osborne says, you don't want to have a baby or a breakdown here. So what we are proposing is a new bill. It's in the works right now to bring youth beds for mental crisis to Central Oregon. It is an $8 million pilot. We spent more on a baseball stadium, so I don't want to hear that we don't have money. Right now, our youth are staying in the ER for an average around 2 weeks. The average age is 13. And Councilor Broadman and others and I had an opportunity to go check out the ER to see the situation that our kids are in. And because they're at the ER, they're considered on a watch. And so they can't even go to the bathroom alone, so their anxiety actually increases because the only beds that they have access to for high acuity are in the valley, and their parents can't stay with them. So if we put ourselves in the seat of the parent who has, and they give you 30 minutes to make a decision, by the way. Am I going to drop my kid off over the valley, transport them there myself and hope for the best? Or I'm going to bring them home or keep them in the ER? So we have to stop this cycle. And the only way that we can stop this cycle is by bringing the high acuity beds right here. And so Commissioner Chang, Councilor Broadman, we are all working on this together. The bill is currently being drafted and we are working on it. So that is a huge fight that we're going for in the next session. And then the second part is, how do we go upstream a little bit? So we are, as you're probably aware, or maybe your kids are aware, enemy number one, we're removing cell phones from schools. So we have a bill in the works, it's a bipartisan bill. And when we look to Norway, when they took the phones out of the classroom, appointments for suicidal ideation went down by 264%. So the underlying diagnosis, like we're seeing with our kiddos, right? There's still an anxious kiddo, but how it presents itself completely changes. And that was just from removing the cell phones from the classroom. And so what we need is to fight for our kids right now. A lot of our kids are struggling, and also their parents are feeling really lonely and not supported. I know that we've both been talking to a lot of parents and listening to stories, and that's the big fight for me. The next session is to really fight for our kids and to make sure that not only do they have a place to go when things are bad, but we have resources before they get bad as well. So that's the fight. There's so many other things. We have a big energy plan that we're working on. I'm on a wildfire commission, and you got me stuck on a few committees with the governor too. And I love working with the Redmond City Council. They brought home almost more money than any other city because of their hard work. It makes a difference, and it turns into money, and money turns into investment. And they're just doing a heck of a job. So thank you.
Up next, we have Anthony Broadman. Anthony and his wife, Dr. Kate Broadman, have 3 daughters in Bend Lapine schools. Anthony is the chief judge of the Warm Springs Court of Appeals and has served as general counsel to the tribal governments throughout his career. Anthony was elected to the Bend City Council in 2020 and served as mayor pro tem in 2021. He co-started the Coordinated Homeless Response Office and advocated for and helped write the Pass passed the first legislation to create teacher priority housing in Oregon. He has worked on the Deschutes Collaborative to ensure climate and wildfire resilience in our forests, advocated for and established climate-friendly transportation infrastructure, and secured sustainable funding for fire and public safety resources throughout our county. He is a former chair of the COIC, a member of Deschutes County Local Public Safety Coordinating Council, and serves on the boards of the Downtown Bend Business Association and EDCO, EDCO. Thank you so much, Anthony, for being here today.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I know so many of you, and I'm just so grateful to be here. And I will tell you, serving on the Bend City Council, we look to Redmond for a lot of things, but especially the Redmond Way. The Central Oregon Way is embodied nowhere better than it is in this city. And I'm grateful for the leadership of all of the councilors and all the electeds in Redmond who are leading our state. In March of 1991, I was 12 years old, and a sheriff's deputy, he was a dear family friend, he actually kind of reminds me of Bill and Counselor Evelyn, came to my classroom and said, "We got to get you somewhere safe. Somebody just tried to assassinate your dad." And that's kind of my first memory of politics. An extremist had come to my dad's place of work and fired one shot, missed by about an inch. But it was my awakening to the choices that we make in public service having really profound real-life consequences, especially for kids. And I think of my 3 daughters in public schools. I think of my wife's patients. She's a pediatrician at St. Charles. I think of all of our kids in this community. All of the work that we do, and the number one most important thing is keeping our kids safe. Making sure that no kid goes through what I went through when I was 12. Making sure that every kid has access to education, a safe home, and somebody looking out for them. This election, each of these folks' election, is a referendum on whether we are going to allow ourselves to be distracted by extremism, divisiveness, the rise of the far right, as Mayor Fitch put it. That is what is at stake in this election. And we have a choice. It is clear from the top of the ticket to the city council races. We have a choice in this election between extremism and chaos on one side and good government that keeps our kids safe, our communities safe, and makes sure that working families can thrive in Central Oregon. That is the choice in this election. I'm running for Senate District 27, which includes both Representative Levy's House District and Jason Krupp in Bend, his House District. And I'm running because we need to turn course. For too long, for far too long, divisiveness, walkouts, extremism have held our region back. Look at what we can accomplish when we work together. This community, both Redmond and Bend, for the first time in 10 years, reduced homelessness, reduced the number of people who are struggling and experiencing homelessness each night. It went up for double-digit percentage points almost every year for a decade, and last year in Bend it went up 5%. It's not by accident. In Bend, we built more homes for working families than any other city in the state per capita, and any other city total except for Portland. And we did it without sprawl. We did it climate responsibly. We did it with a focus on who? Working families, the people who make this community go round. We have a lot more work to do on water, on education, fully funding our schools, giving our teachers the resources that they need to participate in the great equalizer of a public school education, and fully fund our law enforcement and public safety budgets. That's what's at stake. Every time we have a walkout in this state, which my opponent has refused to commit to not walk out, every time we have a walkout in this state, it might seem harmless, but you know what we lose? We lose funding for ODOT. We can't plow our roads. We We are held back on funding our schools. The number one job of the legislature is to put our kids on a path to success. We fail to fund public safety. We fail to invest seriously in our climate challenge. We fail to invest seriously in preventing the risk of catastrophic wildfire, which, folks, is right on our doorstep.
30 seconds.
We have a choice in this election, and I am so grateful for the people on this stage who are stepping up to stand for law and order and equity and justice in the face of chaos and disorder. So thank you all for being here. Thanks for being part of this.
And I think we all agree that we're in the midst of a cultural overhaul, and that we need a cultural overhaul. We need to have a safer, more resilient community, and these people are doing it. Janelle Bynum couldn't be here with us today, but she did provide a video, and I'm going to read her bio quickly, and then we'll get into that video. Is that okay, Liz? Okay. The daughters of teachers, her parents taught Janelle that education was key to a better, safer world. When drug violence threatened her inner city neighborhood in Washington, D.C., Janelle put that idea into practice. She earned scholarships and put herself through school, earning a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering and her master's degree in business administration. Today, Janelle and her husband, Mark, live in Happy Valley with their children. Janelle operates her family's small business, running 4 restaurants in our community. In her restaurants, Janelle continues to embody those ideals taught to her early in life, mentoring her employees, providing scholarships to continue their education, and encourage them to dream big. So, without any further ado, we're going to have a look at her video today.
Good evening, Redmond. I wish I could be there in person with you today. I've met many of you before. Good evening, Redmond. I wish I could be there in person with you today. I've met many of you before, and if you're new here, I'm Janelle Bynum, and I need your support. This November, we have the opportunity to flip this seat and flip the Democratic House majority. Congress isn't working for folks here in Oregon, and my opponent has spent her time in Washington basking in the MAGA sunlight of the Republicans, putting partisan politics ahead of Oregonians. And she won't even take the time to show up in district to explain her votes to constituents. And that's not what I was taught. Being a leader is hard work, and it's about showing up and listening to those you represent. Lori hasn't done that. I'll always put Oregon first, and I'm running to get Washington back to work and start delivering results for Oregonians. We've got to protect abortion access, tackle the housing crisis, and make sure we're keeping our communities safe. The election is only a few weeks away, and the stakes could not be higher. Make sure that you have a plan to vote and that you talk to your neighbors, your family, your community, because it's going to take all of us. I want to take a moment to shout out Councilman Cliff, Councilwoman Catherine, School Board Member Liz, and everyone for your steadfast support. Thanks, and I hope to earn your vote this November.